Hello, 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 sellers. Come on in. I am checking that my mic is on. Hello, hello, hello. It is so good to see everybody. I'm Kathy, and I love to be selling. Come on in, and we're going to be discussing what winning sellers do to get consistent sales. And you can be a winning seller whether you're new to eBay or more experienced. But all sellers, no matter what level, whether you're part-time, whether you're full-time, whether you're selling for a week or whether you're selling for a month or several months, what happens sometimes is that you get into a sales lull. It can be a lull of a couple of days, and it can go on for longer than that. And it can be frustrating when it happens. Hi, Angela. Good to see you. Welcome from Florida. Yay, yay, yay. So this is what I want to talk about, is what are things that drive consistent sales? And consistent is going to be different for everybody. Obviously, if you've got hundreds and hundreds of listings up, you're going to have typically more sales than somebody with a smaller amount of listings. But believe it or not, I do work with some very large sellers with thousands and thousands of listings, and they can go through slow periods too. So it's not just a matter of how many listings you have up, because I'll hear people say that. It's whether your listings are optimized, which means they're being set up in a way where eBay search is finding you. And what happens with eBay search is when eBay rolls out various updates. So when you see a fall update, when you see a spring update, when you see a summer update, specifically when there's category changes, just be on a heads up, because if it is a category that you sell in, clothing, home decor, what'll happen is when those category changes roll out, typically the item specifics also might change. And if they do, you want to quickly go through your listings in that category and make sure, of course, you're going to be using the required item specifics, and that's brand and color, typically things like that. But also take a look at the recommended, because sometimes they will add ones that are very desirable. They're not putting them there unless the buyers look for them. And by going in and adding those, which could be something like size or dimensions or use, or if there's an expiration date, something like that, which can really help you in eBay search. But what I really want to talk about for driving regular sales, and again, whether you're part-time or whether you're full-time, is consistency. And consistency can be a challenge, particularly when we go into a busy season. And I'm talking about it now, and I'm dating this video. This is October 17th, because we're going into, or we're in what's called fourth quarter. Fourth quarter is October, November, and December. For most sellers in most categories, this is among the busiest seasons of the year for us. And also personally, because we have personal things that we want to do. There's activities for kids, there's activities with our neighbors, there's activities in our community, there's activities, for causes that we care about. Is that it can get really, really busy, and it gets more and more challenging, no matter what level of seller you are, to stay consistent in the things that get us sales. And I particularly wanted to give a tip for part-time sellers, but it's also good for us full-time sellers and full-time multi-channel sellers, is listing. And this can get hard when you're a part-time seller. Perhaps you only have 2 or 3 hours a week for your eBay, or half an hour a day for your eBay. And also for my multi-channel sellers, where your focus might be on another channel and eBay is sort of an add-on channel for you, or you may work on one channel one day of the week and then another channel another day of the week. But consistency really matters on eBay, and consistency in listing can really help you to get steady sales. So then the question comes, well, Kathy, I only have a couple hours a week for my eBay, or I only have half an hour a day for my eBay, or I am a full-time eBay seller, but I'm also doing my social media. I'm also doing my shipping. I also want to reorganize my inventory area, or I want to go pumpkin picking with the kids this week, so I'm going to have a little less time for listing. How on earth do I stay on top of this? And this is my suggestion for you, if you haven't done this recently, is to be using the draft feature on eBay. I haven't heard people talk about drafts too much lately. You can use it on mobile, and you can use it on desktop. What drafts is very handy for, so you can create a partial listing or an entire listing and not publish it. You save it for later. You save it as a draft. So you think, well, why do this? Because it is better to spread your listings out. Oftentimes people photograph, or people might list really focused on listing, let's say for 1 or 2 days a week, right? So then you get up, and I'll hear people on social media groups, oh, I got 50 listings up today or 20 listings up today. But then they don't list for 4 or 5 days. And you're better off if you do list in batches, and a lot of us do. So let's say I'm putting up 5 listings or 10 listings or 15 listings, is to list 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, or let's say I'm doing 50 listings, to list 10 and leave the rest in draft. Then the next day, pull some of the ones out of draft and list those. Also, if you photograph in batches or create titles in batches or create any part of your listing in batches, you can do something like a title. You can upload pictures and save it in draft. This is really handy, especially if the listings are like halfway done or 3/4 done. And let's say all you have to do is sort of fill out the description area. It's something you can do while you're in the car waiting for the kids to come out, while you're sitting at the game waiting for the game to start. I mean, all those things where you might be sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes, I can pull out my phone or my iPad, whatever the device is. Sometimes people travel with their laptops, and I can finish listings while I'm waiting. Okay. So consider that. Drafts are a great way to stay consistent, particularly for my part-time sellers, is so you'll have a bunch of things in draft. You have your half an hour for eBay or your hour for eBay. And then later that day, perhaps at lunch, you can pull out your phone and you can finish a listing literally in a matter of minutes. It's very, very fast. If you don't have the eBay app on your phone and your devices, I encourage you to do it. It literally, they're adding more and more bells and whistles to the eBay app daily. So that's a great way to stay consistent, is use the eBay draft feature. Another thing that sellers with or without a store can do is send offers to buyers. eBay calls it SIO, seller initiated offer. You do not need a store to do seller initiated offers. It will show in your dashboard. Now, you do need to be on a PC to see it, okay? But it will show on your dashboard of listings that are eligible to send an offer. It means that the shopper has put the item in their shopping cart. It means they're watching it. It can also mean that they have spent a lot of time on the listing, sort of looking at it. And then that'll trigger the ability for you to send them an offer. They do need to have opted into that they can get offers. There's privacy settings for everybody as users, and they have to have it turned on that they're willing to accept promotions. Some people turn that off. Okay, so they have to have it turned on. So that's why sometimes you'll see that an item has watchers, but you're not able to send them offers. And what that means is that the likelihood they have turned the offer ability off so that you're not able to send them a promotion. Silly them, they're missing out. But it's great. Now, sometimes sellers will say to me, well, Kathy, I send offers and nobody takes them. Well, then take a look at what you're offering. Typically, something like 5% off, sometimes even 10% off. It's just not enough. Now, if it's a low ticket item, if it's $14.99, $15.99, 10% can be good. But do take a look at, can you sort of make it a little better? Can you make it 15 off or 20 off? Realize the greater the discount, the more enticing it is to the watcher. So keep an eye on that. And the other thing about sending offers to watchers that I have, and this actually comes from a staffer, is it's worth it to check your dashboard. And I do this myself now. So I'll look in the morning, when I'm starting off my day, and I'll see if I have anybody to send offers to. It's worthwhile to check it several times a day. So perhaps then at lunch, perhaps at dinner, or perhaps at breakfast time, and then at supper time or in the evening. But it's worth it to check more than once a day, because if there's a new one in there, so you look at it and let's say you have the ability to send offers to 5 folks, right? And you send them out. And then you check in later that day and there's 2 more. That means that those people just became eligible to get an offer. They just watched your item, or they just put it in their shopping cart, or they just spent a lot of time looking at it, and maybe they're thinking about it. Okay, can be a competitor, but maybe it's somebody where, again, they might have looked at it at lunch and they just couldn't make up their mind about it. Sending them the offer as soon as possible is good because it sort of jostles them. It's like, oh, right, I looked at that item, or, oh, wow, I'm getting 10% off, or I'm getting 20% off. And you get a more likely, the opportunity rate, it gets higher that they're going to take it and you're going to score a sale. So it's worth it to look at the items that are eligible to send offers more than once a day. And that's why I talk about it with consistency. So listing consistently, and again, if you miss a day here and there, that's fine. But what you don't want to be doing is listing 1 day a week and then nothing for 5 or 6 days. Okay, you do want to try and be consistent pretty much on a daily basis. And that's why using eBay's draft feature is really, really handy on that. And the same thing with sending offers. Okay, to check it, again, whatever's good for you, first thing in the morning or at lunchtime, but then do check it later in the day when you can, so that those new people that have just showed up, that they're getting the offer in a timely way, because that's going to help you to get sales. Sellers that are consistent, and as consistent as possible, because we all have different schedules. We have things happen where kids get sick or pet is sick, we're traveling, a lot of different things. We have other jobs, but to be consistent in your listing, to be consistent with sending offers and all the parts of our eBay business, those are the sellers, whether they are part-time or full-time, that are successful week in, week out, month in, month out. And if you've been selling for a while, and I've been selling over 15 years, you look around the room, so to speak, 4 or 5 years later, and they're still there because they are consistent. They are consistent in good practices. They are consistent in giving great customer service to their buyers. They're consistent in learning the new things going on eBay, and to keep going, just to keep moving forward, to take a few actions, even on days that are super, super, super busy, to take those forward moving actions every day, because it adds up. It adds up for eBay selling success. Oh, you're welcome, Angela. So I want to give you more eBay tips. I send out eBay selling tips every week. And what you do is you go over to my website, ilovetobeselling.com. And when you're there, you'll see a pop-up, subscribe to our premier eBay tips, and sign up, because I focus on something every week to help you with your eBay selling. In fact, this week, there's a big event here in New York City called Ad Week, which is fantastic. And what it is all kinds of brands and all kinds of ad agencies. And I get to be eBay's guest for the event, so I'm excited about that. And I'm meeting a bunch of eBay staffers, and it's all about social media. It's all about promotions. It's all about branding. It's all about language for selling and different techniques that are going on, and all different kinds of agencies and brands and specialists talk. And I'm just like a big sponge. I just learn, and things that are useful for eBay sellers. It's a lot about the internet, a lot about communicating with people on the internet, a lot about what people are looking for now. There's actually a lot of sessions on retail, which is great, and brick and mortar retailers, physical retailers, this is New York City, as well as online retailers. And I am thrilled. So that's where I will be all week, just soaking it up, learning. And as I learn, I share tips with my premier eBay tip newsletter subscribers. It's completely free. So grab that. Yes, Sharon, free tips. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Angela. Hey, Doris says she's got her store on time away, and I'm not understanding correctly that I cannot send out offers at this time. because if accepted, it falls back to my 1-day shipping. Doris, if you get confused about time away and what your handling times are and anything, it's always best if you go over to the Facebook business page, eBay for Business. It's eBay US customer service, and ask them about your specific situation, because what I'm going to focus on right now is about consistency. And again, consistency in using the draft function and consistency in sending out offers. Okay. But take a look at that, because that'll be a big help to you, and they can help you with your situation. And look at what setting you have, because I don't know how you've set it up and how long you are away. So that'll help you a lot. And subscribe to my tips, subscribe to Premier eBay Tips, because they'll be super, super helpful for you. Bye-bye, everybody. I'm Kathy, and I love to be selling. You're welcome, Doris. I'm glad to help you. Bye-bye.